Picking the right video tool can honestly feel like such a massive headache because it really boils down to the kinds of projects you tackle. And let's be real, once you finally get comfortable in one editing application, learning a completely new one feels just like trying to relearn how to ride a bicycle. So today, I want to walk you through the big three editors that everyone argues about constantly: Premiere, Final Cut Pro, and DaVinci Resolve. Then, I'll show you a simple workflow trick that has become an absolute game changer for me when I need to turn one long video into dozens of usable short clips. I'll just be honest up front, I primarily edit in Final Cut these days, and I actually color grade my work in Resolve. I used to edit full-time in Premiere years ago, so I definitely have some inherent bias, but I promise to try and keep this review fair and practical for everyone. Let's kick things off by looking at Adobe Premiere Pro. The single biggest point in Premiere's favor is undeniably the fact that it remains the true industry standard. If you plan on working at a major agency or collaborating on larger team projects, Premiere is the one you are most likely going to see used everywhere. It is completely cross-platform, meaning whether you are rocking a Mac or a Windows machine, you can always take your projects with you wherever you go. What I personally appreciate most about Premiere is its incredible flexibility. You can rearrange the entire user interface to suit your needs. You can build custom workflows exactly how you want them, often finding multiple different ways to accomplish the very same editing task. That high level of adaptability is incredibly powerful because it means the software genuinely molds itself to fit your unique editing style. Premiere also holds a significant advantage when it comes to team-based collaboration features. Features like team projects, deep creative cloud integration, and reliable cloud syncing are precisely why larger production houses often choose this editor. Because it is so widely adopted, the third-party support ecosystem is absolutely massive for Premiere. You will usually find the newest plugins, specialized tools, and asset templates hitting the Premiere platform first before any other editor. Adobe also pushes development incredibly fast. New features and experimental AI tools tend to appear repeatedly, which is fantastic if you love cutting-edge technology. But of course, we have to address the downsides, and stability has long been a multi-year gripe for many dedicated editors. Those dreaded random application crashes and lingering old legacy code can unfortunately still haunt users sometimes. The application can also sometimes feel a bit messy because there are just so many ways to approach a single task, leading to a steep initial learning curve. And then, you always have to consider the subscription pricing model, meaning you are essentially paying a fee every single month. If you are billing clients, that monthly cost is just part of doing business, but for casual creators, those recurring payments really do start to add up over time. Moving on next to Final Cut Pro, which is the application I personally use for editing the vast majority of my own videos. The absolute headline feature for Final Cut Pro, in my experience, is just sheer speed. Simply put, Final Cut Pro just lets you cut and assemble footage significantly faster than the alternatives. The magnetic timeline and the unique way clips intelligently interact make doing high-volume editing work much less painful. If you are someone who produces a lot of YouTube, social media, or quick commercial content where every second counts, Final Cut is a massive time saver. As an Apple product, Final Cut is deeply optimized for Mac hardware, so playback and export performance are incredibly smooth. Historically speaking, it has also often proven to be the most stable of these three major editing options. For editors who are newer to the game, the learning curve here is noticeably friendlier. You can often pick it up quicker than you would Premiere or Resolve. The interface itself is clean and genuinely pleasant to look at, with everyday tools readily available and deeper settings tucked away so they don't clutter your view. There are certainly strong third-party plugins available for Final Cut too, and I personally rely on some motion VFX tools frequently. However, those extra tools often add up in cost, and you might find yourself buying extras just to achieve workflows you get by default in other programs. The tight ecosystem integration with iPhone and iPad apps is a nice bonus if you primarily shoot your footage using Apple devices. On the negative side, Final Cut is arguably the least industry standard of this trio, meaning fewer facilities or teammates might use it. The built-in color tools are perfectly adequate for most quick projects, but you will hit limits if you aim for complex cinematic grading without leaving the app. Its audio manipulation tools are quite basic when compared directly to the dedicated powerhouses like Fairlight or Adobe Audition. Crucially, there's no native built-in collaboration suite. Teams usually just rely on handing off physical drives or using separate services like Dropbox. Apple's overall pace for introducing major new features can sometimes feel slow, as they don't push out massive changes as frequently as Adobe or Blackmagic. Now let's shift focus to DaVinci Resolve, the application that has been gaining an incredible amount of traction across the industry lately. Resolve started its life as the undisputed king of color grading, and I can confirm that reputation is absolutely well-deserved. Resolve's color tools are significantly deeper than what you find in the other major NLEs, and frequently outperform anything else for truly complex grading tasks. The other massive headline feature for Resolve, especially for newcomers, is the price point. The free version of DaVinci Resolve is unbelievably capable right out of the box for most users. Many students and new editors get their start learning the craft entirely within that free tier and never feel the need to upgrade immediately. Resolve is also fully cross-platform, running excellently on Mac, Windows, and even Linux operating systems. It handles a lot of heavy lifting internally with its Fusion page for advanced VFX and the Fairlight page for professional-level audio mixing. This means you can truly complete your entire post-production finishing process without ever needing to leave the single application. Blackmagic pushes new features extremely fast too. Their release cadence consistently brings practical tools that become useful immediately. In my experience, Resolve manages to find a really great middle ground between Premiere's flexibility and Final Cut's structured layout. The user interface is remarkably consistent and tidy, and its performance on Mac hardware is very competitive with Final Cut for playback and export times. So what are the main cons to consider here? Editing in Resolve, particularly the primary cutting process, still feels a bit clunkier when directly compared to Final Cut's incredibly fluid timeline experience. It gets better with every major release. But if your absolute top priority is pure cutting speed, Final Cut still wins that race. Plugin support is definitely growing, but it's simply not as massive as the well-established Premiere ecosystem yet. Also, in certain professional editing environments, Resolve might not be the default choice, meaning your skills might not transfer easily to an agency setting. Now, for a quick side note that has become very important for everybody: the current landscape of AI features in these applications. Adobe has been the most experimental with AI, introducing ambitious tools like generative extend and deep media intelligence features. They are adding truly wild, envelope-pushing tools that fundamentally change what editors are capable of doing, like editing directly from a transcript. Resolve's AI approach feels more thoughtful and immediately practical, focusing on things like magic mask, accurate transcription, and AI-assisted subtitling. Final Cut has generally been slower to implement new AI, but Apple has recently added genuinely useful features like magnetic mask refinement and voice isolation. Each company's AI philosophy clearly reflects their overall priorities. Adobe pushes the boundary, Blackmagic adds usable features, and Apple iterates more conservatively. Now here's the part where I talk about something I actually use every single week when I need to take long-form content and turn it into a massive stream of short clips. And no, I am definitely not talking about doing all of that tedious work manually inside Premiere or Final Cut one clip at a time. That is precisely where a tool called Vizard has become an unbelievable time saver for my content pipeline. It is absolutely not replacing my main apps for long-form editing or complex grading, but for creators who need serious volume, Vizard automates the messiest part of content repurposing. Vizard's core function is to automatically edit your long videos, like interviews or lectures, into multiple short, ready-to-post clips. You feed it your master file, and the AI intelligently scans for those high-engagement moments, punchy sound bites, and great opening hooks. It then quickly generates numerous short clips, often setting the appropriate aspect ratio, adding captions, and even suggesting thumbnails. While you should always quickly tweak the AI's best picks, the sheer amount of time saved on basic trimming is honestly ridiculous. The other two features that truly changed my entire distribution strategy are the auto-schedule function and the content calendar view. You simply set your desired posting frequency, and Vizard will automatically queue those clips across all your different social media platforms for you. The content calendar is fantastic because it lets you see everything in one centralized place to reschedule, tweak captions, or batch approve everything at once. For any creator who needs a consistent, steady pipeline of short-form material, this turns an entire day of tedious editing into just a few minutes of supervision. What I like best about using Vizard versus trying to force Premiere, FCP, or Resolve to do everything is that this tool is specialized. The AI here is not trying to be a general editor, it is purely optimized for extracting and publishing viral potential short clips extremely fast. Second, it plays very nicely with the big established editors because you can always export the AI-made clips and then do cinematic grading in Resolve or Final Polish in Premiere if needed. Third, it significantly reduces the need for you to learn 3 completely different complex workflows just to manage your short-form content at scale. Instead of spending hours painstakingly trimming, captioning, and formatting, you get dozens of ready-to-go clips instantly, plus a schedule. Now, please don't get me wrong, this specialized tool is definitely not absolutely perfect. Sometimes the AI will select a moment you wouldn't have chosen, or it might cut off a sentence in a slightly awkward place. However, the editing suggestions are usually incredibly on point, and saving multiple hours every single week is worth manually fixing a handful of those clips. Also, unlike needing to buy a million different plugins for Final Cut or constantly paying that monthly Premiere fee, Vizard's ROI is purely about time saved and reach gained. So, how does this actually fit into a realistic professional workflow for you? For me, the process is, I record my long-form content in my primary app, do the main edit and color grade in Resolve or Final Cut, export the final master file, and then feed that master into Vizard. Vizard then auto-generates those 20 to 40 short clips, applies all the captions and thumbnails, and I just review everything before hitting the final publish button or doing a cinematic polish in Resolve. For teams, this allows for a brilliant division of labor. One person handles the primary long-form edit, while another team member focuses purely on approving the short clips and managing the schedule. Let's talk pricing, because this is always the first question people have about these tools. Premiere is fundamentally a subscription model. You should expect to be paying that fee annually, every year. In contrast, both Final Cut Pro and DaVinci Resolve allow you to buy the software once, and then you keep receiving all the major updates for free. Vizard typically offers a completely free trial period so you can test the output, followed by tiered plans that accommodate creators needing high export volume or multi-account scheduling. For most dedicated creators, the time saved and the resulting increase in audience reach quickly justifies the investment cost. If you are currently on the fence about trying it out, I highly recommend running just a couple of your recent episodes through the free trial to see the raw output quality. To wrap everything up, Premiere is super flexible and the industry benchmark, but it can be messy and financially demanding. Final Cut is the fastest for pure cutting and is highly optimized for Mac users, but it sometimes lacks certain professional features and broad industry adoption. Resolve is the best cross-platform color grading suite with a powerful free option and true pro finishing tools, but its editing speed and plugin ecosystem still lag slightly. And finally, if your main goal is scaling your short-form distribution without completely burning out your time, Vizard is an essential tool worth adding to your arsenal. It complements, it does not replace, your main editor. I am genuinely curious to hear what you are currently using in your day-to-day work. Are you firmly Team Premiere, Final Cut, or Resolve? Or perhaps you have already jumped in and tried an automation tool designed specifically for clip extraction like Vizard? Please drop a comment down below and let me know if you've ever seriously considered switching to a different primary editor. Also, if you would like to see a dedicated quick demo showing Vizard turning just one long video into a full month's worth of short clips, let me know and I can break that down for you next time. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I will catch you all in the very next video.